I'm Sanjay, and I will be talking about Living with Leopards, which is a project in the city of Mumbai in India, and it is located in the Sanjay Gandhi National Park, which is in the northern part of the city. Now, this forest is within the metropolitan limits of the city of Mumbai, and we're just not looking at a forest here, we're looking at a forest placed in the heart of one of the most populated, densely populated cities in the world. Yes, and also this forest is part of a larger landscape, and what we see right now is that it's an environment, a remnant patch of the original landscape of this area. If we can see that there are two lakes, if you can see, there are two lakes which supply 10% of the city's water requirement. That comes from this forest, so it does have a lot of ecosystem value too. What it also has is a lot of anthropogenic pressure. If you look at this map also, you have the white border, but yeah, and then in this drawing you can see that the national park is the white area, while the gray area is the urban landscape, the urban fabric of the city, and that is how close it is. There's no buffer, and the density over here is almost 21,000 people in 1 square kilometer, while the density of leopard is 26 leopards per 100 kilometer. So yes, why are the anthropogenic pressures so important, especially in this area? We are looking at a very vulnerable fabric, which I already said, and what happened initially when conflict arose is the Forest Department, in this case, who were known to be, who were responsible for the leopard, looked at it as, okay, we need to look at the social and the political pressures, we need to respond to the situation. So it was a lot of trapping and relocating the leopard. It was assumed that this is the problem, we solve the problem, we remove the problem, fine. But that caused a lot of damage, more damage, and we started understanding that this might not be a solution. So an alternative approach is required, a different approach is required. That started with understanding the drivers of conflict. And through ecological studies on leopards, we understood that trapping and relocating was a driver in itself. So therefore, when the forest department started looking at different approaches, they started understanding what are the drivers, what are the perspectives of conflict. I think even earlier this morning we were talking about perspectives of conflict, what is conflict? And all of that is what was taken into consideration. The department also started looking at this as a joint responsibility with different stakeholders. What can everyone bring to the table? What role can the different stakeholders play? And policy change. Trapping and relocation after this was institutionally discouraged. Yes, looking at stakeholders. Now, who is involved? Understanding relationships. What we observed was that it was very important to what every stakeholder perceived the forest is, especially with the leopard, with the role the leopard played in this landscape. This reflected in their relationship, their response to this entire project, their response to living with leopards, their response to leopards in the landscape in a general sense. And the next very important thing was understanding differences. If you recollect the initial map, it's a large landscape and it's a common landscape with leopards, with the city. There are many similarities. But what's also important is the differences. Even though this was one big landscape which had that common aspect, there were so many differences, and respecting, understanding, and adopting these differences was very important. This brought us closer from coexistence to conflict. It helped us to move from sustained conflict to owning mitigation measures to evidence-based mitigation measures. What we also understood through this project is the increase in the complexities. Mumbai is very dynamic, so the increase in the complexities, the increase in the population required us to be more proactive engagement with all these stakeholders, looking at each one's role, looking at the people living around the park, engaging with them, looking at behavioral change in their societies, looking at how educational institutions, in the sense we're looking at schools, we're looking at the younger generation, preparing them with this knowledge that they need to go further. And also looking at the media, because they put the message ahead, and police and fire department, they played a very important role where if there was any time an emergency situation, we looked at planned training which happened before any event that occurred. So if there's anything that happened, everybody knew what their role was, everybody was there, and they knew what part to play. So that was very important in making sure that even in a conflict situation, everything was well organized. Yes, so the overall, yeah, I can do it 1 minute. The overall episodes of conflict, yes, reduced. However, there were some episodes that still sustained. And from there, we also had our own learnings that we need to continue down this path and understand better how this landscape functions, how the dynamics of this landscape functions. And now our question is that what is the future of this landscape? And in this, what is the future of the leopard in this landscape? To begin to understand this, we start with asking the question that what we believe is the citizenship of the leopard in this landscape. Yes. Yes, if I have a few seconds to spare, the illustrations you've seen in this presentation are the adaptations from a book that we created, Living with Leopards, which was stories by residents of the area. So this is about a leopard on the gobber tree when everybody was inside the house at 1 a.m. Thank you so much.